Good evening. Welcome to the September 13th Clifton Park Town Board meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Teresa, if you call the roll.
Councilwoman Flood. Here. Councilwoman Standard. Here. Councilman Morelli.
Here.
Councilwoman Walloway. Here. Supervisor Barrett.
Here. A couple of communications and announcements. Just want to mention that Farm Fest is coming up, 18th and 19th this week. Hopefully the weather holds and we have a nice weekend. It's a great kickoff to the fall season. Please get out there and support our farms early and often. We have a lot of information on the website, cliftonpark.org, as well as right here in Town Hall. So if you'd like information about any of the various farms that you can visit and things to do over the weekend, that information is readily available. So look forward to seeing everybody out there this weekend to support our farms. We also have Hazardous Waste Day coming up on the 25th. If you go to the Hazardous Waste Day tab on the main page of cliftonpark.org on the right-hand side, click the tab. Not only will you see a lot of information that's available as far as what we can accept and what we can't, but you can also register for a time online. It goes 8 to 2. So you just click on the desired time and you can register that way. If you'd rather register in person, you can do that here at Town Hall, but the electronic option is available to you if you'd like to take advantage. So again, that's the 25th, 8 to 2, and all the pertinent information is on the website. Any other communications or announcements? Yes.
I want to thank Councilman Morelli for attending the Historic Rooms Tavern this past Friday. John Shearer did another presentation on the stories and memories of Parks Past. He has another one coming up October 1st called The Old House, How to Determine the Age and History of a Building, and I've heard him do this presentation. It's very interesting. And also Paul Sesney, who is part of the Historic Preservation Commission, is going to provide a demonstration of an interactive digital map that he did of Clifton Park and the historic structures. And lastly, December 3rd at the Grooms Tavern is the Toastmasters with speaker Dorinda Garcha, and he will be talking about the understanding the art of public speaking. So lots of great things coming up at the Grooms Tavern. That's, I believe, on the website for Parks and Rec also.
Very good. And the facelift looks good too. Anyone else? Okay. Teresa, or I'm sorry, not Teresa, Joe. Joe, how are you? Good. Good to see you. Our town center park, as everybody knows, we completed a comprehensive public planning process. They gave us a great outline for a plan for the future for the park. Since that time, we've engaged EDP. They've been working feverishly over the spring and summer to come up, now dig into the details of the future of the park as we look to improve safety and access to the beautiful 37 acres. So we want to make them more beautiful, right, Joe?
We got a great plan here for you.
All right. Well, hey, let's without further ado, let's get right to it.
Okay. Good evening. Thanks for having me in tonight to go over where we are with the town park. Certainly have a comprehensive look, a lot of graphics of what we expect this to look like as we develop phase 1 of the plans. Go through all those slides. Hopefully I'll hear some oohs and ahs, and everyone's going to get excited about what they see, and then we'll talk about some of the project estimates and budgeting for the project at the end of the slideshow. We'll kind of go down the breakdown of where we're at today for our draft budgeting purposes. So the Town Center Park, here's the master plan that was put together by Elon and Associates. We generally followed the same outline that they are working with. We did have to make some modifications. One such modification was definitely driven around cost and aesthetics of the entrance to the park off of Mill Road. I'll go into a little more, sorry, not Mill Road, Maxwell Road. And I'll go into a little bit more detail on that. Phase 1 of the project essentially focuses on 3 areas: the east parking lot off of Maxwell and Southside Drive near Staples, the west entrance coming across from the Shenandoah Campus Drive on Mill Road, and the third portion, the Spine Trail and Glade. Looking at the overall park plan, the main change that we started looking at the main area we looked at to change was on the east parking lot. The master plan had the parking lot closest to Maxwell Road on Southside Drive. Unfortunately, in that location, there is a existing stormwater management area that was constructed as part of the Maxwell Drive, Southside Drive extensions, as well as some of the other improvements in that area. While that is town-owned land, we found that it's going to be much more cost-effective to avoid filling that area, recreating that storm water, and bringing it into the site. We're also going to be able to preserve many more trees by bringing the road and access road behind the stormwater management area and creating a new stormwater management for the road system itself. Just to kind of orient everybody, this is the area we're talking about here. This is Maxwell Road, north is up, Southside Drive, Staples, the future Druthers entrance to the middle school. The master plan had a parking lot located in this area. This area here is generally where the existing stormwater facilities exist. And as we got looking for them, started doing the breakdowns again to put the road and the access points at that location. Not only had the cost, but we have to relocate that stormwater management area. The only spot to put it would be bring it into the park itself, which would have resulted in significant removal of trees within that area. So as we looked at it again, we think this is the best from a cost standpoint, as well as maintaining as many trees on the property as possible. Blow up with that view again. Maxwell Drive on the right-hand side. The area that's undeveloped is the stormwater management area, as well as some berm and existing vegetation to create a very nice buffer to the parking lot from Maxwell Drive. Quick overhead view, just change the orientation. On this map, north is to the right. We come in off of the intersection with School Drive, Maxwell, and Southside Drive. We come in, we loop into the parking lot. We have 40 or so parking spaces with the loop turnaround and a trail drop off at the end of that road. That also accommodates emergency vehicles and larger vehicles coming to and from the site in the event that there is an emergency. This would be the view of the park coming off of Maxwell Drive. Essentially, we're standing in the middle of the intersection of Maxwell and Southside Drive, looking into the site. To the right, we're preserving the existing stormwater pond and any of the vegetation that exists in that pond to the greatest extent possible. Proposing a new entrance sign. Again, details of that are still being worked out. That's kind of the interpretation we pulled out of the master plan. Access road going into the property. One thing, go back one slide, 2 slides. Out on Maxwell Road, we are proposing a concrete sidewalk along the east side of Maxwell Drive that connects to the existing sidewalks on the other side of the road. It'll bring pedestrians on the network of sidewalks throughout the downtown area, or sorry, the town center area, into the you park on a hard paved accessible surface. A little bit further down the entrance road, this is where the sidewalk meets the asphalt spine trail. Parking still beyond there, kind of hidden in the trees with maintaining as much of the existing vegetation as possible. Not the best view of it, just the lighting's a little off. This is kind of the nighttime look. What we'd expect these two views to look like daytime, nighttime, bollard lights running along the portion of the trail, ornamental lights lighting up the parking lot. Not too much light. We don't want to have this as a urban downtown area, but we do want to promote safety of anyone going in to use the park in the evening hours. This is the right side or the north side of the loop road. In the background is the drop-off loop that we have for emergency vehicles. We have an initial kiosk where we'll have signs, maybe some QR codes on that sign so people can have the map of the park as they enter the trail system. Asphalt trail heading to the right-hand side. We have an arching, say the grand entrance to the park. That is where we would cross the wetland, go into a bridge, and get into the main portion of the spine trail. Second element we're looking at is the west entrance. This is a modification of what's on the master plan. We kept this somewhat small in this phase. We didn't want to go to the full grand entrance, as I think the plan's being developed more and more of how we're going to utilize this side of the park and the glade area as well. So we did a small parking lot coming off Mill Road, parking for about 12 cars. Started the spine trail connecting to the multi-use trail on Mill Road and connections into the parking lot. Overhead aerial view of what we anticipate that looking like. As you see, we're preserving as much of the existing vegetation as we can. We want to create a canopy over the parking lot, but still providing safe and adequate turnaround and lighting during the evening hours. Similar to what we did on the east side, the west side will also have an entrance sign. Access road on the left, new trail, access the spine trail on the right-hand side. Asphalt paved in both towns. Another kiosk sign matching the one on the other side of the park, so that either side you enter the park, you have that mapping ability to be able to understand where you are within the park. Now for the spine trail. The spine trail we're looking at is currently proposed as a 16-foot wide asphalt trail, and then proposing a loop going around the central glade area on the property. The entire trail, as it's currently proposed, is to be lit with a series of, again, just natural features. We're not proposing a significant amount of landscaping along the spine trail. Certainly within the glade, there's going to be some tree clearing to create the effect of a lawn area. We're going to go out, flag some of the mature trees within the center of that glade area. Hope they get into the appropriate placement so that we can accent those existing mature trees within that center area. Okay, so now we're back on the east side of the park. This is the gateway sign crossing over a boardwalk, which is over the wetlands, as we enter into the spine trail heading in a westerly direction. This is what we'd anticipate the trail to look like based upon the plans we're providing. We will have ornamental lighting, again, the 16-foot wide asphalt path, and essentially everything off the sides of the path is going to be natural and existing vegetation. We do have a path proposed in an area that we're going to have to work with whatever contractors ultimately get selected, because we want the ability to slide that path left and right to be able to avoid any of the trees that we want to save as we go through there. Again, it's our hope that we preserve all the vegetation we possibly can. Same view, daytime, nighttime view of the trail. Again, providing safe, adequate access for residents of the town who may be entertaining themselves in the evening in the town center, and then would like to walk home to the residential areas on the west side of the town, heading towards the school, towards the commons, and towards any area that is connected to that multi-use trail, biking, things like that. As then we get down into the glade. The glade is essentially a cleared lawn area that could be utilized for a series of events, art shows, passive recreational areas. The glade itself is probably a little bit over an acre, right about 60,000 square feet. This is entering the glade from the east side. Nighttime view. This is off on the north side, looking in a southwesterly direction, daytime view. Nighttime view of that area. Let's just give a side-by-side comparison of that daytime and nighttime. And I think it's important to see the daytime and nighttime. As we get into the budgeting, you'll see that lighting is a significant portion of the budget for this project. So let's get into the budget, the general breakdown, we'll say the draft breakdown of what we have. What we are showing you here is coming up in the realm of about $1.4 to $1.5 million for the improvements. The east parking lot is the majority of that work, a good amount of earthwork, significant amount of pavement, landscaping. That whole area is about $450,000. The west parking lot, and much smaller, it's going to be about $150,000. The spine trail in the glade itself, we're looking just shy of $300,000. Of that, I'll say $280,000, $80,000 of that is just for the pavement that is needed to create that accessible path, that hard surface on that trail system. Lighting, again, I said that is a significant number. Lighting is about $350,000 as we have it shown. It's about 46 ornamental light poles. Each one of those poles installed, it's roughly around $6,000 to $7,000. Water and sewer, I'll go back to that a little bit. And then signage and furnishing, so the entrance signs on both the east and west parking lot, as well as the kiosk signs and the archlight. Through some numbers at that, we're coming up around $70,000 for those features. Now there is some ancillary landscaping and things like that, not included in the individual breakdowns, but it is included in the overall budget of about, say $1.5 million in that range. Utilities. What we are proposing to do is bringing sewer and water from the Moe Road side of the project, based upon the master plan. That is the most likely area to have the need for water usage, sanitary sewer use. So what we want to do is bring that sewer and water lines up into right here in future phases. This is a building that would be a restrooms for the facility. So we bring in water and sewer to this point. We would also give the ability for irrigation systems to be installed in the glade to maintain that nice grassy area that we'd be looking to do for the passive recreation. Generally, that's what we have at this time. We're progressing the plans along quite nicely, and I think we're at a point where we present the budget to the town and see where we go from here.
Right. Very good. So, as you see, as you're looking there, that was the original park master plan, with the parking as far to the east as possible. But due to the stormwater issues that you described, it would basically be moved inward a little bit into the park itself. But you're saying that will actually, with the planning that you've done, it will result in less trees being removed than, say, this option? Or
what I'll say is that in this option, we have to find a place to relocate that existing stormwater facility. We can't just get rid of it. The only spot to do that would be bring that stormwater facility into here. When we bring a stormwater facility that was designed to 2000 standards. We relocate it, rebuild it, we now have to design it to 2020, 21 regulations.
Yeah.
That pond will be twice as big, certain regulations we have to follow. We're gonna end up creating a huge hole within this area of the park. Now, where we did choose to put the parking lot, we maintained the storm pond here. Then there's like a lift, maybe a 4 or 5 foot raising grade, and it drops down. Essentially, we have a natural berm in that area with existing pretty mature vegetation. What we were able to do is bring this road, loop it around behind that berm, and essentially screen the cars in the parking lot from the view of Maxwell and the rest of the town. So when you're parking, you're feeling like you are actually in a park-like setting, not on the side of a suburban town center, downtown area.
Yeah, it's a little more, I guess, secluded.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. A little more of a park feel, certainly.
Correct.
And that would take care of our stormwater issues. We wouldn't have to do anything else.
The only thing we have to do is treat stormwater for the new impervious areas.
Yeah.
Which we went out there, we did test pits, we found we've got really good soil, deep groundwater. Currently, we have it priced in that the water will sheet off the parking lot and go into a series of low-pressure trenches. Rather than digging down to the ground with a bunch of infrastructure, we want to keep it as natural as area, let that water flow out temporarily, be held, and then discharged into the wetland complex on the site.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. Any questions for Joe?
I was just wondering, how long is the trail? Like,
Good question.
I don't recall if that was in the master plan. I believe it was, but I don't recall what it was up
Judging by what we have here, I'm going to say with the full loop, we're probably about 2,400 linear feet, close to half a mile on site.
Did somebody guess it back then?
Yeah.
Well, that's because you walked it a bunch of times.
Absolutely. Walked it and skied it and everything, yeah.
You know it by heart.
Yeah, I do.
Any other,
Yeah,
yes?
I do. In order to have these paved trails, I assume there's a lot of deforestation cleanup that has to be done within that park.
Yeah,
I mean, there's gotta be a lot of fallen trees you can do in that area since it hasn't been used.
Correct. Essentially, we'd probably be coming through this area, all of this, and come along here. We'd probably have to clear about a 20-foot swath to be able to get the appropriate equipment in there to construct the pathways at the widths that are currently proposed. And again, in the glade area, we do want to open it up and create more of a lawn or a central park feeling in that area. So definitely there's going to be some cleanup, tree removal, and some roof work associated with the construction.
Yeah, I was more thinking of debris, fallen trees, limbs, things that are, yeah, you know, it would, in order that the way that you showed the entrance is beautiful, the pines and everything, but I assume that there needs to be some cleanup to make it look better.
So this phase of the project, we didn't go in and disturb and clean up any of the forest area outside of the limits of that clearing and grading you need for the project.
You just went down the 20 feet and we cleaned up and cleared up whatever you needed to be able to properly install the path and everything else you showed there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. We're not going in and removing
Any
trees
further?
and
Okay.
taking out the understory for the 30 or so acres.
You know, over time, I would assume more of the trails would be built out and refined from what they are now. And as that occurs, I think you'll see in those same areas the same clearing and cleaning that you see here.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Actually, it's just because I recently had a family in Lake Tahoe, so deforesting came into a big conversation over the last few weeks with my family and I. So, that's probably why I was concerned with how much stuff is really down there since it hasn't been used.
Sounds like a lot of great Eagle Scout and Silver Award projects.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, how wide is the entrance on Moe Road? Like how much property do we have there?
Enough for 2 cars in and out, right?
Yeah, there's 60 or here. Probably almost 90 feet wide.
That's right to the south of Collins Park.
It is not directly to the south of Collins Park. Collins Park would be up in this area here. Then you have some series of commercial buildings,
Right.
and I think there's another pending project that's going to be looked at in this area shortly. And I think there's even one more parcel. I think there's 3 parcels between us in Collins Park. Depending on where you go, I think 3 on the frontage. I think as we get over here, there's 1 or 2.
If you park at Collins now and later, you can use the Moe Road Trail to get into the park.
That's
Yeah.
what we were, I think that's what we were.
So
So it's a pretty short walk. I didn't measure it, but it's a short walk. Yeah.
you said the one smaller lot holds like 12 cars. What about the bigger lot? How many?
There's 40 to 50 cars in that area. Certainly trying to accommodate any type of events that may occur in the future.
Any other questions, comments? Well, that's, yes, Jim?
Yeah, the existing stormwater basin that you're bypassing with the parking lots, can you use that for the stormwater that's generated by the impervious surface of the parking lots, or do you have to shun it to the west?
We will be using it slightly as we enter the park with the first section of road here
Okay,
as we come in, but as we get back, we're getting too far and remote. In order to get that storm water in that direction, we're going to have to get a new series of infrastructure improvements.
so then there is a headwaters of the reservoir, actually. It starts there. So that's where that water would then have to be shunted, which is to the west.
Comes down through here.
Yeah,
Jim's trying to tie it into the Stony Creek Reservoir,
That's right.
so we buy that
And
at the
it
same time. Is that true?
that's right.
Well, do you expect to be using this kind of surfaces that will allow for permeation of water through the pavement, correct? Will you be using materials that will allow for that?
So what we are doing is we're using a standard asphalt material, and as that water sheets off of the pavement, it will go directly into infiltration areas adjacent to the pavement. So essentially, we are putting it right back into the ground as close to the source as practical.
Hi, Margaret, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good.
Congratulations if you're gonna be.
Oh, thank you.
Well, never mind.
I was involved.
I'm sorry, what was the, how many parking lots, in the west and east?
We have 12 in the west, and the exact count on the other side is
8?
24 and 18 more. That's 42.
Oh, that's in the east.
That's on the east, and there's 12 on the west.
West.
We have to strike the handicap in, so
Fine,
we'll
I had it backwards, okay, no problem. Thank you.
You know, in future years, Joe, if, I think that amount of parking is very good for the foreseeable future. If indeed the town at some point wanted to expand the parking on either end, how difficult would that be?
So I think the parking on the east end, what we are proposing is probably the most we want to put up on that end of the site.
Mm-hmm.
On the west end of the property, we're only utilizing this area right here for parking. The master plan called out for a significantly larger area of parking closer to the grade area. I think as time goes on, we determine if it's needed. If it is needed, additional work would be needed, similar to what we're doing on this side, where we have the pavement sheeting it off and the shallow grass compressions, rain gardens, things like that. Easily maintained areas that put the water back into the ground. I don't see a problem why it couldn't be done.
Okay. Good.
Again, this is the phase one of the project. Essentially, we're looking to move the project all the way through to have the full build out of that park be as close as possible to the master plan that was put together. Obviously, there was a lot of public input,
Yeah.
not only from the general public, but the town board, planning boards, and planning staff.
Yeah, from the very beginning, the question of the future of this land and subsequently the town purchasing the property, leading to the comprehensive public planning process, there has been an incredible amount of involvement by many people in town throughout the process, and so it's a unique park in a great location with a very interesting history, when you think about it. And so I think this plan as phase one, which will obviously improve the accessibility and the safety of the park, is worthy of all the effort that's been invested by many, many people throughout the process. Well, that's great, Joe. I think overall, a lot of positive comments and thoughts. We'll continue to obviously think about this as a major project. So if we do have any additional ideas or things that we might want to tweak, we'll certainly let you know. But at least this gives us a budget to be wary of as we think about what we want to do with the 37 acres in the future.
Yeah, and certainly, and everyone's aware of this, but it's worth repeating. Budgeting construction projects right now is very difficult. Especially, I think we try to be conservatively high at this point because we don't know what's going on with materials, and the price of gas is going up. Everything's getting more expensive. Some is coming down, but not that much.
So along those lines, what would your best guess be for how long this would be, assuming the budget was approved and we were ready to move forward?
How long until?
For phase one, how long would it take from start to finish roughly?
If this was slated for a spring construction, I wouldn't see why it probably couldn't be built out by midsummer.
One of the challenges we've had is, the availability of certain projects due to supply chain delays on various projects within the county and the town. When I was looking at this, thinking about what could be a delay, what materials might not be readily accessible, other than the lights, the metal with the lights and maybe some of the materials needed to construct and install the lights, I didn't see anything that would delay the project as far as the supply chains as they stand today. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's reasonable. I know I just put an order in for 36 lights for a project I'm doing. They're 4 months out.
Yeah.
Turning that around and getting us those lights. That's fast because of the amount of lights we ordered. Had we ordered 10, we'd probably still be on the waiting list.
Mm-hmm.
The other things that seem to be getting better to get, easier to get, are the sewer and water materials and permits that go along with that. I think everyone's been able to start to see the supplies increase, and they're not getting much delay on that at this point.
Yeah, it seems to be a number of metal products of various types.
Yeah, I haven't looked into any of the site furnishings as far as those supply lines. That's not, I'd say not critical to the opening of the park.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you, Joe. Gives us a lot to think about, and appreciate this update.
And I'll provide a copy of the slideshow and pictures.
Yeah, please do.
to the
Yeah, we'll
towns
get that.
For their files.
Yeah, we'll get that posted so people can understand what we're discussing, and take a look at the plans closer to themselves.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Joe. All right, we do have some resolutions this evening. Teresa, if you could read through those, please.
A resolution to accept a proposal for the rental of free tents to be used on household hazardous waste day, whereas proposals have been received for the rental of tents to be used on household hazardous waste day on September 25th, 2021. And whereas after reviewing the proposals received, Stormwater Management Technician Scott Reese has recommended that the low proposal from Whalen and Sons for an amount of $2,129 for the rental of free tents be accepted. Now therefore be it resolved that the proposal from Whalen and Sons, 5 North Street, Troy, New York, is hereby accepted for an amount not to exceed $2,129 for the rental of free tents to be used on household hazardous waste day, to be paid from Community Development Office, Special Collections Day. A resolution accepting a quote from AJ Sign for the purchase and installation of new entrance signs for the entrances in the Riverview Park District, whereas quotes were received for the purchase and installation of 2 signs in the Riverview Park District, and whereas AJ Sign Company submitted the lowest quote in the amount of $5,355 for the entrance signs for the Riverview Park District. And whereas Daniel Clemens, Director of Buildings, Parks, and Recreation, has reviewed the quotes and recommends accepting the lowest quote, which was submitted by AJ Sign Company, 822 Saratoga Road, Vernon Hills, New York. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board, as commissioners of the Riverview Park District, accepts the quote from AJ Sign Company for the purchase and installation of 2 Riverview Park District signs in an amount of $5,355 to be paid from Riverview Park District equipment.
Very good. Any questions on the resolutions? Okay. Teresa.
Resolution number 219 of 2021, a resolution to accept a proposal for the rental of free tents to be used on household hazardous waste day.
Second?
Moved by Ms. Morelli, second by Mrs. Standard. And again, just the aforementioned hazardous waste day. Please utilize this service and take care of all your hazardous materials safely and environmentally responsible manner. Okay, Teresa.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stanford?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 220 of 2021, a resolution accepting a quote from AJ Sign for the purchase and installation of a new entrance signs for entrances in the Riverview Park District.
So moved. Second?
Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Mrs. Flood. Mr. Clemens.
Oh,
How are you?
good, thank you. How are you doing?
Good.
The Riverview Park District Committee reached out to me and they were worried about a couple of these signs. One is Southbury, Crescent State South sign, Southbury and Crescent Road, and the other one was the Silver Oaks, which is off of Boyack Road. They thought they might need to be replaced, and when I went over there, the thing is extremely rotted out. There's a junk. So I advised them of that. They requested I do a request for proposals, put everything together, and I sent it out to 6 different companies. And AJ came back with the best proposal, pretty much the only proposal. Other people, some declined, didn't want to do the work, they're too busy. Price is in line with other projects that they have done. I sent all the information back to the Park District Committee. They reviewed it and said they would like to move forward with this project. So they're both going to be completely replaced. So we talked about repainting the Silver Oaks one, but it's beyond repainting the way that it's built. It's not possible to do. So they submitted a price AJ to actually replace that sign as well.
Okay. Any discussion, comments? Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood? Yes. Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz? Yes. Supervisor Barrett?
Yes. Any other business to come before the board this evening?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion for the town board to enter into an executive session for the purposes of discussing a town employee matter covered under New York State Public Officers Law, Article 7, Section 105.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes. Okay, we will be in executive session for, difficult to say how long it'll be, but, say about 20 minutes.